I think we feel prepared. I reckon we've had a really strong NAB challenge campaign, and we've had a pretty tough pre-season. We've got our list is in great shape. So I think it's going to be tough with selection this week. There'll be some unlucky guys and guys that are in form. So I think from our point of view, I think we're in a great position and really excited about the challenge ahead.
Obviously, every game is important. The first 2 rounds, 2 home games, MCG, it's a good chance to launch the season.
Yeah, 100%. But we're facing an informed GWS. I've been really impressed with them through the NAB Challenge Series. Obviously, in form. They've got some real talent, and there's probably been a bit of a rivalry there over the last few years. So, we're excited to play them, and we're not really looking any further ahead than this week. So, I'm keen to get out there today, put in a solid training session, and continue our preparations for this week.
What differences do you notice in the week leading up to a season in terms of energy levels at training, and particularly given the young list you've got?
Yeah, I think last week's probably the most difficult week of the pre-season or the year. Not playing a game, and guys not wanting to get injured. So it's a bit of a balancing act in terms of getting the most out of the training sessions, but making sure we don't tip over the edge. But then you can really feel the shift as soon as we get to training. On Monday after having the week off leading into the first game of the season, there's real excitement, and I think there's that added optimism, as I said, about how we've performed over the NAB Challenge and wanting to carry that form ahead and get out there and challenge ourselves for a real result where the game actually counts for something. So that's what we get to do this Saturday, and we're looking forward to that.
Obviously, coaching structure is going to be an interesting one this year. You obviously noticed a bit of change over the pre-season. How do you see that implementing itself from week to week around, particularly later in the year as well when the handover gets closer?
I would have thought it's been put pretty clear over the last week or two. Goody's had the opportunity to develop his skills coaching us through the NAB Challenge, and Ruse is our coach for 2016. It's pretty simple from my point of view. I think we've got a really good coaching structure in place. I think the interest is around obviously that Ruse Goodwin transition, but as I said, Goody steps back and now lets Ruse take over for the season, as we've seen a lot of other clubs do. I think Hawthorn's probably led the way in that regard, and Alistair Clarkson seems to hand over the coaching reins to his coaching group. So that's all we've done this pre-season, and Goody will look to continue to develop himself in other areas, so he's in the best position to take over next year. And we're excited about the coaching group assembled. We really trust them and believe in them, and I think we're all working together and all for one goal.
Does it feel any different this pre-season? I mean, you've obviously had a few with Melbourne. Is there a sense? I mean, you mentioned optimism there, but is that really what's coursing through the young guys at the moment?
I think the young guys are fresh and don't know anything else. For someone like me, and maybe the more senior players that have been around a while, you can really notice a shift. The younger players are excited to obviously get a game, make an impact, and they're still raw and just want to get out there and give it their best, which is what we love. And that rejuvenates someone like me that's been around for 10 or 11 seasons. So as far as I'm concerned, from my perspective, being around a fair while, I just think I've seen a real shift in the mentality of the group, the attitude of the players. I think the coaching staff and the playing group's all on one page, and we're, as I said before, we're all striving for one goal. And I think coupled with that, the club's in a terrific position off field. So from top to bottom, everyone's going in the one direction, which makes it a hell of a lot easier.
Do you feel you've got a team of competitors now with the young blokes you brought in, some of the players you brought in from other clubs in the last couple of years? You've just got a team that will compete every week.
I think that's been the goal. I think Ruse flagged that from the day he got here. Was it's not about just being competitive. It's about putting a team out on the field that is a team of competitors. So you give yourself the best chance to win, and I think we find ourselves in that position now. And some of the players we've brought in, which is credit to the coaching staff, they've come in and had a real impact from day one. We saw obviously Angus Brayshaw and Jesse last year, and I'm excited to see Christian Petrarca. But I think this season we've seen Clayton Oliver in particular over the pre-season put his hand up and obviously be in the sights of selection this week.
A lot of talk about your attack in the NAB Challenge. You've topped 100 points 3 times. Is it a bit too early, though, for Melbourne fans to expect that to become a regular occurrence?
I wouldn't have thought so. That's what we've been training for. We've worked really hard over the pre-season on that. I think initially we've laid some pretty strong foundations around the contest and making sure that we get some of those areas right. Obviously that's the basis of our game, but we've tinkered with some of our offensive play, and one of the main catalysts is the man up the back, Geno. He's come in with a few new little tricks for us, and I think it's starting to pay off. We're starting to move the ball a bit more freely, which allows you to defend from better positions and gain positive territory, which allows more energy to compete around the contest and hold the ball inside your forward 50. So we've worked really hard on that, and I expect that to continue. I think there'll be some ups and downs with it. We'll be tested against some better teams, and in particular now going into the season when opposition puts a bit more time into trying to stop you. But we're not going to change the way we play, and I think that's going to be the challenge for us, making sure we can get the game on our terms and continue to play that way week in, week out.
It's an exciting day on Friday for Jack Tringo. How's the group feeling about, is that close to coming back playing for footy?
Yeah, super excited for him. I think everyone is, particularly the guys that have known him a while and seen him go through it, the absolute most ultimate professional with his recovery, and just one of the club's great blokes. And I think to see him come back from where he's come from, 2 years, he hasn't played footy in over 2 years, and at one stage, it looked like it could have been all over, and he's just continued to tick every single box, and the main thing has just been how he's been able to deal with that mentally, and his personality hasn't shifted, he hasn't dropped his head, he's just stayed positive the whole time. And to see him just get his chance and run out there this week, he's obviously been in the main group training for the last couple, but just to play a game again, I think it's going to provide some real inspiration to the group, and hopefully it's not too far away that he can find some form, and we can see him back at AFL level.
You mentioned Oliver before. I mean, Brayshaw and Hogan, as you said, had great impact straight away. Can you see Oliver doing a similar thing this year?
Oh yeah, I think from my point of view, I think he's definitely in the position to. He's trained terrifically over the pre-season. He's put the right foot forward through the games of the NAB Challenge, and he's put his hand up for selection this week. As I said, that's still going to be, it's yet to be decided, and it will be a difficult task for the coaching group. But I see him right in the mix, and I think if he does get his opportunity this week, he'll be a really important player for us. I think I've been excited by him playing his role over the NAB Challenge series. I love his hardness at the footy, and he's got some real tricks with the ball. And if he continues to play the way he has with that tenacity around the contest, and his ability to crack in, he's got all the attributes to have a terrific season.